Well, my friends, how did we get to this point? Welcome to the Critical State. It's a Critical State podcast number 2. Where we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite dead horse, Fallout 76. Not Red Dead Redemption 2 because apparently that's a really good game. But
I mean, there's a lot of dead horses.
Yeah, there's a lot of dead horses. That's a lot of dead horses. Well, but the dead horse, the end all dead horses, is Fallout 76. And that's it on today's podcast.
Yeah, that's basically just about all we're going to be discussing today, apart from
okay. So with me today, I am the Paco, of course. I am joined by Mr. Joe.
Hello.
And Mr. Michael.
Hello.
Hello, friends.
So
how are y'all today? No, we will not talk about that. We will not talk about that.
Well, I've said it now.
Okay, what were you gonna say?
Well, because it might become relevant. Because a couple of weeks ago, we recorded a podcast, a Critical State exclusive.
Lost the time.
How we talked about how we thought Fallout 76 was going to do, how we thought the beta would do, how we thought the game would do, how we thought it would be received, if it would be successful or not, and then we fucking lost the audio. So awesome. We may end up repeating a few points from that, and we may end up confusing ourselves because we're just talking about shit we've already talked about. But
I think it's been long enough to where we forgot what we exactly.
I'll be honest, I don't remember what we talked about in the first one. That was like a month ago. So
that's fair.
But
yeah, so this is technically episode 3.
You'll never see episode 2. Just forget about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, how are you guys this lovely day?
Oh, I'm great.
Yeah,
I've basically been living on the Fallout subreddits last few days.
Yeah, you've been giving me updates like every day about like reviews coming out, what people are saying, what Bethesda's doing.
It's really funny because as he would send me messages from like the subreddit that really kind of like, just blew up, I was reading them. I'm pretty sure as you were sending me these, I was already reading them.
I'll be honest, I've been really, really busy the past month and a half between a bunch of things going on, IRL, speedrun community stuff and all that stuff. And I haven't really been able to take a huge stock into what's going on. But Joe has been keeping me pretty much up to date on everything happening in the Fallout 76 world. It's pretty obsessive, yes. But I appreciate it.
So like... I don't even I'm just like fascinated by it, just seeing how it's very weird to me that of all companies that could be having this kind of backlash, this kind of PR, just absolute destruction, it's Bethesda, who until 3 weeks ago was a complete darling of the games industry, and now they're just getting shit on every single day.
Yeah, and that's gonna be today's podcast because there's a lot to talk about. There is a lot, and we have a Fallout 76 master over here, and Michael, who will give us perspective on how the gameplay and game operates.
He's the only one who's played it.
I pulled out during the beta, so I feel like I made a good decision.
I haven't killed myself yet, so I think that's good news.
Yet. But anyways, before we get to that,
talk about you gotta stop doing this,
man. Okay, listen. There's the audio delay, all right?
Listen, we need to be in sync because I keep trying to continue the conversation and you try to move on, and then you try to continue the conversation and I try to move on. It's very unprofessional.
Do you know what this channel is? Like,
yeah, I know. Like, but we're trying to be a serious gaming news network.
Yeah, we have Critical over here now. Whoa, where did he come from?
Got to be actually pretty critical about this. I'm just sitting here playing, Soul Calibur and then Fallout Duty 76.
Fallout Duty 76.
Yeah,
I mean that's pretty.
Charlie's here to try and give us some clout because he's a big gaming journalist. So we want.
It's better than most gaming journalists nowadays. So
maybe if this podcast gets enough views, we can get jobs at I don't know, like GameSpot or something.
Hell yeah! Wait, GameSpot of all things. I was expecting you to say like Escapist magazine or some shit. There's some backwards
Escapist
ass.
Still exist?
Yeah.
I don't mean that snarkily. I genuinely don't.
Yeah, they still exist. Only because of Yahtzee.
I know they had some trouble.
Only because of Yahtzee.
Yeah, that's true.
Like everyone else is garbage, but that's just me. Anyways, before we get to all that fun stuff, what have you guys been doing? I know Michael's been playing Fallout 76, but is there anything else you've been doing, playing or whatever?
So I bought Let's Go. I've been playing that. I actually
Which
been
version?
trying.
This is important.
I got Pikachu.
Nice.
Because Pikachu is statistically superior. But besides that, been playing a lot of that. I beat that, and what else? Been playing a lot of Fallout. I've been actually going back to Call of Duty, and then I don't know, man. My hands have been tied up with school too, so this is like impossible to juggle. But yeah, I mean those are the main three, really, honestly.
Clint's also been playing a lot of Pokemon and also Spyro Reignited.
I wasted $30 and I bought Skyrim on the Switch, but it's actually really fun and runs really well though.
Dude, Skyrim on Switch, I will say, I have probably put as many hours in that as I did in my 360 game, and that was a lot. Like I put too much.
I put like 200 hours on the PS3 version.
I don't know what it is.
Skyrim's
like
unplayable without mods, dude.
Well, I mean, it's because you get to. I just lay down and fucking play it. Like instead, like I've been craving Skyrim. I think I'm gonna. Okay, while this podcast goes on, I'm just gonna install Skyrim while we do this. Okay.
This is gonna be the entire podcast right here, just installing Skyrim and mods.
Yeah, just Michael cutting in and out. Like,
but yeah, Skyrim on Switch is. I bought it like last year because Toys R Us, before they went under RIP, they had like a 2-for-1 sale. So they had. I bought Odyssey. What else was it? No, it was
Assassin's Creed Mario Odyssey.
Assassin's Creed Mario Odyssey, yes. Assassin's Creed Mario Odyssey. I bought. I can't remember. There's another game I bought. I don't really play it much though, as you can tell. And I bought Skyrim, so I got that one for free. So I was like, let's see how this plays. And I'm generally enjoying it. I haven't played it much lately because Let's Go has been taking up a lot of my time. Dude,
I had B-Drill on my team the whole game.
Can we talk about can we talk about something positive? Can we talk about Pokemon instead of Fallout today?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Wholesome, dude. Wholesome.
Well, so I really enjoyed the game. What'd you think, Clint? I really enjoyed the game.
I was actually really surprised how much I enjoyed the game. Well, okay, more so in terms of like people were trying to like villainize the game in terms of it's just Pokemon Go with all these extra things. It's not a real Pokemon game, but it's like it's a game for casuals. Which, to be fair, they did casualize a lot of some things about the game, but in my opinion, I feel like they made a lot of good steps in the right direction. Such as, this is controversial, by the way. I feel might be. I really like the catching mechanic now. I thought I was gonna be very iffy about it. But the catching mechanic, I feel, is really good, except for maybe one part of it, and I can talk about that in a moment.
Hot take.
So I think it's. I thought the game was really fun. I went through and I expected. I didn't know what to expect because it's considered a spin-off game. So I went in expecting something completely different, and what I actually got was more of like a vanilla Red and Blue experience. No hold items, no abilities, right?
Yeah.
The only thing they're just natures, and it's essentially a Red and Blue vanilla experience. Of course, you have the added kind of hand-holding kind of things there, but I mean, I gimped myself. I only caught one Pokemon per area, didn't train.
Nuzlocke.
It was almost Nuzlocke, except I didn't really want to do Nuzlocke all the way. I had crappy Pokemon on my team. I had a Beedrill. I had
Beedrill. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I had Beedrill. I had Raticate. I used them throughout the whole game. With Pikachu. Pikachu was really good though.
Pikachu has perfect
powers.
He has perfect IVs, which
perfect. He has perfect IVs, right?
May put this in like Joe's perspective. Yeah, he has perfect stats no matter what. He has perfect stats no matter what.
Yeah. The only thing hindering would be nature, but even then, at that point, it's still a Pikachu.
It's negligible.
Subpar stats. Yeah, because 30 was it 31 the extra IV? It's 31, isn't it?
31 is max. Yeah.
31 is max. I've been thinking too much Pokemon Go, where it's like 16. But yeah, I mean 31 is negligible when you compare it to the rest of its stats, so it's not that much of a big deal. Even then, I didn't use any of the special abilities I got. I used all the level up abilities. Didn't use anything like fucking Splishy Splash or whatever.
Dude, that was what made Pikachu broken, because ground Pokemon and rock Pokemon were its natural enemy. It has Splishy Splash, which is a very powerful water move, and it can almost kill anything with its rock type or ground.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't use any of those. I just felt like to break the game.
It did break the game a little bit.
I'm sad that Cycling Road was no longer a thing either.
I will be honest. As soon as I realized that there was no bikes, I was like, "What? No bikes?"
No, oh, I had Arcanine, and I was like, "Hey, I wonder what he's like whenever you have him out of your Pokeball."
And you just run around with them,
and then you just run around on top of like, "What the fuck?"
I had Rapidash on my team just so I can have her like ride me around because it was so fast. And then you have like Snorlax, which is funny because you're just like riding on his belly as he's just stomping around town. Like that's amazing. But besides, before we go back to the catching mechanic, which is like the big point people talk about, when I went into it, I was expecting a more casual experience. Like I went in expecting like some casual things, of course, but I also was like, it's Kanto. Kanto is a beloved region. I feel like they're wanting to experiment. This is a good chance for them to experiment before their big game next year in Gen 8. So I went in with ready, and then it blew me away. I was actually really surprised how much I enjoyed it. Like I've already put in 40 hours into the game, and I am almost done with the Pokedex. I have almost all the Pokemon in my living Pokedex, so I can just trade those over to Gen 8 whenever I'm ready. Which I've never done in a Pokemon game before, by the way. I've never gotten all Pokemon because I just didn't like the grind, but it's actually kind of fun. Like
it is, and that's how you're gonna get hooked because Kanto is the easiest, and then watch Gen 8 be extra stupid.
Oh yeah,
and just good luck. Well, I mean, Sun and Moon did their Pokédex differently. Their Pokédex was only the regional Pokédex. It wasn't the national Pokédex, which was a lot easier. And I think I'm actually like 8 Pokemon off of finishing that dex, but I just got lazy.
Yeah. So like. Kanto is just the beloved region. Like when they went, there was like, yeah, we're doing Kanto. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Good chance to do this. And
so
they even have a lowland Pokemon. They have a lowland Pokemon, which is really cool. Honestly, I have not played much Sun or Moon, mainly because I couldn't get past the fucking dumbass tutorial it gave you in the first like 4 hours. It's literally half the game's tutorial, and I get so aggravated with it because I'm like, I'm a Pokemon master in most aspects. I know how to play this game. Let me play. And the game's like, oh, so yeah, this is how you capture a Pokemon. So it's like, fuck off. Just give me an option to skip this if I know what I'm doing.
It's like if you thought the old man teaching you how to catch Pokemon in Red and Blue was bad, then this whole game just took down the opposite direction.
So this game, there's a little bit of hand-holding in terms of how to play the game, but a lot of it you have to learn on your own, which I'm fine with. Like I'm learning stuff every day about stuff that the game never told you about, which is nice. I don't want to be told everything. I want to learn stuff about that from my friends, from seeing forums, stuff like that. That's how it was back in the old days. Let's go back to that. Now, when they did Fire Red and Leaf Green, they kind of compromised. They had like a way for you to look at hints and tips if you wanted it, or you can watch they had like a key item. Where you could watch like in-game cutscenes of people explaining mechanics of the game. That was really cool. I didn't need it, but it's really cool for those who needed it. But they didn't bring that back. But they still talked about enough in the game for you to get started, and was like, have fun, go at it. And it's really fun. I guess one of the bigger things as well is they completely got rid of HMs. As in, like, Pikachu just does everything for you. He's your flying buddy. He's your surfing buddy. He's your cutting buddy. He's your fucking tank for knocking down rocks. He's everything. I love that. No HMs. I love it. Bring it back. I think they sort of had that in Sun and Moon in some ways, if I remember correctly.
No, they did. Yeah, everything was based off of the Pokemon. They had, like, ride Pokemon and other stuff. It wasn't ever, you need this HM to do this. It was just, you learned this ability, and then that was it, which is a lot better. I think it's a lot better than having to go get freaking Beeperl, the HM slave, out of HMO. What did I name him? How many HMs were there in Diamond and Pearl? I named him like HM08. 9. I named him HM10 because he was my HM slave. He was the HM itself.
It was dumb. I was really, really, really surprised, and I was really, really happy with the game. Again, I'm almost done. I have like 5 Pokemon left in my Pokedex and like 7 Pokemon left in my actually collecting Pokedex, Livedex. And I will be 100% in the game, quote unquote. But then you get to the catching mechanics, and they made it pretty easy for you to do shiny hunting, which, don't get me wrong, you're still going to do a lot of grinding for it. But this is probably the easiest way to get started with becoming a shiny hunter. For those of you who don't know who's watching this, there are a couple ways to do it. One, you can capture up to 31 of the same Pokemon in a row. without losing the combo. By losing the combo, it is that you capture another Pokemon, a Pokemon runs away, you reset the game, and so on and so forth. As long as you have 31 in a row, your chances of getting a shiny go down a lot. There's also a shiny charm in the game. You could also use lures, which were in Pokemon Go, so you can bring out Pokemon, and they do bring down the chances as well for shiny hunting. But if you combine all that, it gets ridiculously easy. But it's still also a grind fest because it's still like 1 in like fucking 500, 600. But it's probably the easiest it's ever gotten for shiny hunting for those of you who are really big shiny hunters. My first day of shiny hunting, I got a shiny Chansey. So that's really cool. I'm working on a Ghastly right now because I'm kind of working on my battling team. Because that's one aspect of Pokemon I like. And they also made it easy for you to figure all that stuff out too. Like, it actually is a surprisingly fun battling game as well. Like, there's a lot to it still, even without held items.
Yeah, and then you don't have all the freaking overpowered Alolan Pokemon in there.
Were they overpowered? I never got that far.
Power creep. It's just that every generation they introduce another set of Pokemon that just completely dominates the other one. So a lot of Pokemon that were OU go straight down to UU or even NU, like never used, overused.
Except for like the Chanseys and Gengars of the world, right?
Well, like like the Blissies and everything.
Yeah, there's Blissey.
I don't know. I just hate how that. I don't know. I just don't like how that happened.
Side note: have you seen how insane stats can get in Pokemon Go? I think Let's Go? Man, Let's Go. I think I saw a Chansey on the subreddit have like 900 HP. I'm like, holy fuck. 900 HP, like 500 defense and special defense. It's like, you ain't getting past this thing. And soft boiled. So if you get lucky criticals in a row, it's still gonna heal, so it doesn't matter. Like, it's insane because it also gives you like a graph as well. And like, it's like one of those what are those graphs called? I really don't know the name for them.
Pie chart?
No, it's not really a pie chart, but it's like you start in the center and like around it is like 8 attributes, and if you level up an attribute, it goes in that one direction. Not the band, but in that one direction. But
I was waiting to see if anyone would make the joke.
It goes in that one direction, and then you'd have like a perfectly circle or a perfectly like pentagram-esque shape of all the attributes. But then if you are super overpowered, it goes outside the graph, so it looks stupid. And I love that. It just shows how broken Pokemon are. And it's very easy to do so, because another thing we haven't talked about is that by capturing Pokemon, especially if you get into a chain, you get candies, which is this game's a way of doing EVs. So in the previous games, if you don't know, this game is a little bit of explaining. You could do EV grinding to level your Pokemon's stats even higher. They got rid of that. Now they have candies, which you get from capturing Pokemon, and they can do all the attributes. There's one candy that you get that's specific for a Pokemon, say a Ghastly candy, that does all attributes at once. Or you can get specifically, like if you capture a Ghastly a lot, you get Smart candies, which helps your special attack. Or if you capture a bunch of Chanseys, you get Health candy, which helps your health. So you just feed out your Pokemon, just force feed into their mouths, and they get stronger and stronger. And those are broken because I think someone just said on the subreddit there's a level 16 Psyduck who just beat the Elite Four. So it's like, oh, okay.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's broken.
The thing, there's something I don't understand about Pokemon Let's Go. And this is coming from the perspective of someone who's never played a Pokemon game, who missed out on that entirely and has never played one since.
You should.
There's been a lot of talk about how the game's been like casualized down and how that's really shitty, and how, you know, they've sold out and, you know, tried to make it for a mass market and all that. And I don't really understand how, like, Pokemon is like kids game that everyone who is playing it today discovered as kids, and they want it to be like this hardcore grindy thing. If it's a bit more casual, if more people playing it, if more kids playing it, more, you know, more adults playing it, that's a bad thing. I don't understand why, considering where Pokemon started as a kids game that kids played and now adults play because they grew up with it as kids. I don't understand why it's a bad thing.
Because it kind of went into the direction of like casualization over time. Like like Sun and Moon, as I said, I think even Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, they have a really long ass tutorial at the very beginning of the game that you cannot skip.
Oh, that's different though.
But like that in some aspects, people say that's casualizing it. And they have done some things to
EXP share.
EXP share is another one. Like they introduced that in X and Y. Yeah, X and Y. Where every Pokemon gets all experience. It used to be that only the main Pokemon or Pokemon that were in that current fight, they would get experience, but they would get split experience if you have, if you switched out or whatever. But now all Pokemon get the same amount of experience no matter what, and people didn't really like that. You could turn it off in those games, but you can't in this one. Some people don't really like that. They want to just go through all the grind, which gets more power to you, but at the same time, it's like, I don't have all the time in the world, so that's good for me. Like, I like that. I would be fine with an option, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's like, I don't have the time anymore, so I really do appreciate this. And I feel like that I'm a huge Pokemon fan. Like, I've been around probably longer than most kids have, like, started playing the game. Like, a good almost 20 years. And I'm an old man. Like, I love this game to death. These games to death.
Quick story. I remember that whenever my brother, he used my blue version to catch all 150 Pokemon in his red, and I was like 3 at the time, I saved over his game, and then my name was A, and I had a Squirtle named A, and yeah, and then there went all his, and he did it again. He was so mad at me.
But like, I understand what people are saying in terms of it becoming casual, but at the same time, a lot of the people who like are not the vocal minority really do appreciate the things they do add because it does help us out. And again, it's a different time. Like back then, JRPGs, you would grind a lot, but let's be honest, the grand scheme of things, that's really fucking boring. So
it's kind of like, again, as someone who's never played a Pokemon Let's Go is the first Pokemon game that actually kind of interested me because it seems a bit more accessible. Like like the one thing that always pushed me away from Pokemon is how you can constantly get into fights that you don't really want to get into,
which you can avoid now.
I really hate that about which you can avoid now. And I constantly I hated that about JRPGs and etc. And it just seems like a lot of grinding Pokemon games. And this one seems like it's just a bit more like if I were to jump in with this is my first Pokemon game.
This is a chill game. This is a very chill game.
If I wasn't poor and I could afford a Switch and Pokemon, this seems like something that I could actually jump into and not feel a bit overwhelmed by all the grinding and all the avoiding and all the fights and all the. So I don't know, maybe it's just the fandom is a bit more hardcore than the game is, which tends to happen a lot with things like Doctor Who. Like Doctor Who is basically just a children's show, but the fandom of it is very, very hardcore and really hates it when it's a bit different. I wonder if the Pokemon is kind of like that.
So we're in a strange time as well because this game sold a lot. Like a lot of people are saying this is going to be dead in the water. Like people are going to hate this. It sold a lot, and especially considering that the Switch is still relatively, it's not expensive. It's like $300, but that's a huger asking price, much larger asking price than say than a 3DS or a 2DS or a SP or whatever, which were the handheld games. But now you have a more expensive console. The game's also $60, which they're normally $40 on handhelds. It's still sold a lot. It's selling units. People are happy. Really well. People are. I'm pretty sure Nintendo's probably like, well, shit, okay. So I would not be surprised if, like, in a year and a half time, we hear Let's Go, whatever Johto region it's going to be, and I would be fine with that as well. Like, bring it on. Like, if you have like a side game like this that's just fun, but you set it into a different region every time, I'll be all for it. Like, I'll buy these up. And then you have like the main series game, which will be the quote unquote hardcore, which are, more in line with the traditional experience if you want that. But like, I won't be surprised if that's the direction they go. Let's go, if you will. And like all this made sense from a business standpoint. And I think they hit the jackpot with it this time because no one was expecting it. And they did a lot to change it, and it's still really fun. It's still the same old Pokemon as old, but better in most ways. At least in my opinion.
Hot take there.
Yeah, hot take. Don't spit on the Pokemon subreddit. I'll be fucking
baptized in fire. I was just about to say that.
I'll be baptized in fire.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was like, I don't know. I think it's like how James was saying. Cause I talked to James about this. One of my coworkers. He was like, I really like the catch mechanics in this game because whenever I play Pokemon, what I do, I don't even weaken the Pokemon. I just throw Ultra Balls until I catch it. So this is me doing the same thing.
Yeah, right. Like it's really annoying as well.
James is a legend.
It's really annoying as well because if you want to catch a wild Pokemon back in the old games, you had to whittle down its HP and then capture it until it got caught.
Yeah,
which you still have. You still have only in special fights. So Snorlax, for example, spoilers. By the way, there's a lot of spoilers in this. Snorlax, the legendary birds, Mewtwo, those are, once you approach them, you have to fight them. And once you beat them, then you have the chance to capture them. So you still have those mechanics built in from old. And I feel like that's a good mixture because it's really dumb to have that every single fight, but it's really cool to have it like, you're fighting this overpowered monster that is probably high above your level. I fought Mewtwo at level 50, all my Pokemon. I got fucking massacred, but it was still a really fun fight. And then you whittle it down, and you're like, yes, now you can go capture it, which is kind of like how the anime pretty much goes. You just beat the death, and you need to capture it, not whittle it down its HP, and then you watch it recover all of its HP, Mewtwo, and then you have to do it again and again and again and just pray. Now you just beat it to death, then you can capture it, which is awesome. I like it. I really love the capture.
It's like when I went into the fight with what was it? They're like, oh hey, master trainers are now available. Oh okay, cool. Let me go fight the one in Viridian Forest since they just told me about it. My Pikachu's level like 52. I can take it. I go in there. It's level 75 Pikachu. I'm just like,
I did the same thing.
I spammed double team and I won. So it's okay. I'm a bitch.
What'd I do? It was Charizard. Okay, I'll talk about this in a moment because I hate the AI. That's one of the biggest things I hate about this game. The AI is fucking cheating. But back to I did mention about one thing I hate about the catching mechanics. I really do hate that Pokemon have a when you're capturing them and you're in a long ass capturing sequence, they have an animation where they can run away or they're about to tell you that they're running away. And the easiest way to tell is if they do a taunt and the circle that encloses them does not disappear but it still encloses. That pretty much just tells you, okay, you have one shot left to get this. If you don't get this, it's going to run away. And I dislike that because it can go from the second one all the way up to like 20. And it's like, this is dumb. It should not be this big of a spread. It should be more condensed, like around, like say maybe from try 5 onwards or whatever. It shouldn't be just a random number. Because when I was like shiny chaining for a Chansey, like I would have a Chansey, I'll be at it for like 2 minutes. And then the next one's like 30 seconds, it's like about to run away. I'm like, well, shit, run. So I wouldn't lose my combo. And I don't really like that. I guess it makes it dynamic, I guess you could say, but it's just a part of the mechanics I dislike. I mean, also, there are some Pokemon that's really fucking difficult to capture. Like Ghastly, fuck Ghastly. That thing's always floating around really fast, and it's like, you're throwing like 30 Ultra Balls just to catch it once. It's dumb.
It's just like that in the Pokemon Go. Like Ghastly's stupid. Yeah, it's really stupid. It's always been. I don't know why it's like that. I don't
dislike
understand,
it.
man.
Please fix.
I don't know. I really like the game. A lot of people are giving it shit, but it's very good.
I think it's a vocal minority to be.
There you go. Vocal.
It's a very vocal minority.
The people buying the game, that's the people making decisions for Nintendo right now.
Yeah.
And they're seeing it. They're making money. They're happy. They're probably going to make another one because it did so well. And I'm happy for it. Go for it.
I'm just so confused as when does this game take place? Is this in like another universe?
So
like everything is like reversed.
So, okay, we're going to be talking about story. Before we get to that, the storyline of the game is pretty much like Red and Blue, but they combine aspects of the anime and some of the mangas, I'm supposed to say, into it. And it's a really cool mishmash. It's really cool. Like you see Team Rocket, Jesse and James. Meowth doesn't talk, which I didn't like. I really wanted Meowth to talk, but it's there on its 2 legs, just hopping around with Jesse and James. That's really cool. The storyline is basic. It's a Pokemon game. It's a very basic storyline, but it's still fun to see old characters because you see Gary, you see Red. They show up, and you get to kick their asses if you want to. It's still a really fun experience. But as for the timeline, which is the real meat and butter of this entire episode, where does this take place? I think people have theorized that it does take place, and there is, once X and Y came out, there was a shift in timeline. and they kind of expanded upon it with each game how the timeline works. People are thinking that like if I remember correctly, one theory at least. Remember in old Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire where you have Xenia?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh yeah, this meteorite, you can't throw it into another dimension because I'll blow up them instead or whatever. People are thinking that we blow up that universe from the old generations and X and Y onwards this universe. And this is the Mega universe where everything has megas. And Red and Blue, I think, take place before X and Y. I don't know. People are still kind of figuring it out. Or is it later? It's something like that.
So I guess was Red ever Red was the champion? I haven't fought Red yet, so I don't know. He was still the champion in this timeline, right?
He's a legend. I would imagine at one point, yeah. He's considered a legendary trainer, just like Blue and Green are.
Yeah.
Which Green's in this game. Green's amazing, by the way.
I hate how the rival isn't like hateable. Like he's just some kid.
He's like pretty much May 2.0. That's the best way to put it.
Like Gold and Silver, Red and Blue, first two, like those, they give you a reason to hate your rival.
You don't really hate your rival in the first one. Like Red and Blue, you don't really hate him. You're just like, God, I want to beat this guy. He's a dick. I want to. He's not hateable as in he's a villain, but he's like you want to beat him up. You want to beat him up because he's.
That sounds like
you
hate him, dude.
I don't hate him. I think Gary's a really cool guy. But it's just, I'm like, I want to beat him up. I want to beat him up.
I want to physically beat him up.
There are many people I want to beat up who I don't hate.
Okay, fair enough. But then you get the Gold and Silver, and it's like, I think that's the best rival of them all. Because, like, he's genuinely a fucking dick until the end.
Yep.
Like, fuck him. And they expanded on his story in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and if they go into Let's Go Johto series, I hope they bring back the rival that's, a dick, because I feel like that was probably one of the lesser points, was that your rival, you can't really hate him. He's kind of just like, hey, buddy, let's go kick some butt. Let's go save the world or whatever.
You know what it's going to be? Because it's going to be like, hey, this Let's Go Johto takes place at like, it's not it's not like gold or silver or crystal or anything like that, right? Well, I guess gold and silver are gonna be there, but anyway, you play as some random kid again, and you go in there, and then your rival is the same, is like a descendant of this fucking the old rival, and he shaped up this new kid to become the best ever, because you remember he turned a new leaf at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Like
he's like I love Pokemon. Pokemon are my friends.
It's like,
they're the best.
You were just saying like 5 seconds ago that you're gonna kick my ass because like like every time you beat him, he's like, I'm gonna fucking kick your ass next time. He's like, okay, Pokemon are cool. It's like, oh, okay. That was a sudden tone shift.
Yeah, I don't know. She's gonna be some washed down friend. That's exactly what's gonna happen. He's not gonna be a dick.
Yeah, they don't really have complex rivals, and I hope they do bring that in 8. And they kind of, I did read the synopsis of Ultra Moon, Ultra Sun, and Sun and Moon or whatever. They kind of had a more complex, slightly darker. It still had a dark story in some aspects, but it was more complex than the normal get 8 badges, save the world bullshit.
I think Sun and Moon had the best story out of all. Like it was the most. I guess it's because it was the first like full 3DS game, and they could kind of play out cutscenes. It's like playing Let's Go and you see a cutscene, you're just like, a cutscene. We haven't had this.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I really like that. So it gets me really excited. The new one coming out, did they mention what that was? It's Gen 8, right? It's a Gen 8 game.
We just know that it's coming out in 2019. I imagine. I think they like revealing stuff in February, March, so that will probably be the time frame. Now give him like 6, 7, 8 months to hype it up to hell.
I really just want a Sinnoh remake. That's what I want.
I would imagine now that if we want remakes, it will probably be Let's Go games instead. So we'll probably have to wait a little while for Sinnoh.
I don't think so. They just make well, I guess it's easier to do it that way. They just make so much. Either way they go, they're gonna make a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna buy it. Fuck it. I bought the edition with Pokeball Plus, so I will buy it.
I did too. Yo, I have it at work. I have it right here on my side, and like it'll shake, and I'll just go oop oop, ha ha.
Got it. I really like it. I really like it. Like, it's really cool. It adds to the experience a little bit.
I'm sorry, Joe. We've been nerding out over Pokemon the last 38 minutes.
It's fine. I've just been reading the Fallout subreddit.
Oh no.
We'll get to that later.
That's one road to depression right there.
Yeah. We're talking about a happy game, happy-go-lucky, like, wholesome game. Then we have Fallout 76.
Yeah. So...
opposite of everything.
What else is there? Anything else you've been playing?
I've been playing a little bit of Spyro. Like
we're still on that.
Yeah, we're still on that.
Yeah, we are. We're gonna need some timestamps. Hella timestamps.
Yeah, I know, right? I've been playing a lot of Spyro. I'm still kind of playing through 100% just on my own pace because I really enjoyed the games. They were my
headbutt and stuff.
Like people make this as a joke that their game was their childhood, but this game was really my childhood. Like I played these games to death as a kid, and I love it to death. And I really do like the remakes, except for some aspects. Some of it annoys me. And some speedrunners that I watch, they have found some annoying aspects of the game, which, it's gonna happen. It's a remake in a different engine completely. Like 20 years later, it's gonna happen. But for the most part, like casually, like it's hella fun. Except for the flight levels. Fuck the flight levels.
I need Ratchet and Clank on PS4. That's all I need.
Didn't they have like Ratchet and Clank on PS4?
Yeah, I think they did do
PS3.
a remake of Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, they did a remake?
That was the first one. Well, I
Oh.
want remasters, man. Come on.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, fair enough.
That's what me and my brother play. I think me and my brother put a good several hundred hours on Deadlocked, just playing co-op the whole time. Fairly positive. That game was so
I only
good.
ever played the demos of those games on like the old PS2 demo disc.
Alex played a lot. My little brother. He's a big Ratchet and Clank guy. He plays all of them, and I played every so often. I'm like, oh, this is fun. I just never get a chance to get around to playing it myself.
I think I've 100%ed every single one of them. Like every single one that's came out ever.
God damn, dude.
Even the PSP ones. Even Secret Agent Clank, okay?
Whoa.
I understand that reference.
Whoa.
Apparently that's a point of contention. But,
Whoa.
So a lot of people are always like, "Hey, I love Ratchet and Clank, right?" And then you play through Ratchet and Clanks, you play through all of them, then you get to Deadlocked. Oh, Deadlock's the worst one because you don't get to play as Clank. Like what? That was the worst part of all the fucking games, playing as Clank. It's just puzzles.
It was part of the worst part. I just want to blow up shit. Just give me a chance to blow up shit. Do some cool jumps and stuff like that. Do something wacky as Ratchet. Let me do that. I don't want to do puzzles. Fuck that.
For real. That's exactly how I feel. And that was the best.
I didn't really like all the puzzles. I don't know what it is. Like I love Insomnia to death, but I don't really like their puzzles a whole lot. I don't know what it is.
Oh, the Spider-Man.
Yeah, I haven't played Spider-Man yet, but I haven't heard the puzzles be a strong point. Let's put it that way.
No, definitely not. It feels like they're tacked on just like every other sneak mission.
I feel like I don't know. Insomnia they don't really do a whole lot of good puzzles. Like there's some puzzles in Spyro that are fun, but like they're not really intricate. Like I don't really go to their games for intricate puzzles.
I mean, they're really good at making like really good weapons, really crazy gadgets, all this kinds of crazy stuff. Like I think I've played every Insomniac game except Fuse. Was it called? Because I know they changed the name. I think it's called Fuse.
I remember that. It was a team shooter, wasn't it?
Class-based team shooter. It was a co-op. I think it was co-op.
I don't know. Wasn't it had like a goofy cartoon style to it, and they made it gritty for some reason?
Yeah, because I don't know why. They could have kept the cartoon style. They definitely should have kept the cartoon style. But I haven't played that. It just didn't interest me. That was like one of their. I played through. So I 100%ed every single Insomnia game except that because I never fucking played it. Oh, and Sunset Overdrive, which I
I was going to say Sunset Overdrive is now on PC, which is really cool. I get a chance to play it now.
Yep, same. I'm probably gonna 100% that, honestly.
I will probably pick it up sometime soon because that looks really fun. It came out at like the very start of the Xbox One, so it's like I didn't have an Xbox One until recently, so
yeah,
I had to pull that off. But now it's on PC. Fuck it, I'm just gonna get PC. But besides that, Tony Hawk stuff. I began getting ready for a big marathon in January, so I'm doing a lot of practicing.
Yeah, you've been busy doing shit for that.
Yeah,
can't ever get enough practice, man.
Exactly. I don't want to look like a fucking fool in front of 300,000 people.
I've been busy, fellas. In a little indie game that came out about a month ago that I couldn't play for a week after because I was sick and I just couldn't stand up. Basically, it's a little indie game called Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, dude, I know that game. I heard it's pretty good. I think.
Yeah, man.
Is it good?
Oh, man, it's good. It's good. I finally finished it like 2 weeks ago.
Wait. Just so we're straight. We're talking about the Red Dead Redemption 2 that lost Game of the Year to Fortnite, right?
Yeah, that one.
we don't even need to talk about that, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I get that it's like just a popularity contest.
It didn't come out this year.
I think it's because it picked up so much traction. So you got to think if Fortnite has had such a big impact on everything. So when anything related to gaming, Fortnite has heavily impacted. It doesn't matter. That you
I
can
don't-
say
I don't-
otherwise, but like, I don't know, man.
I'm not bothered that it won because obviously Fortnite is big and popular and a lot of people love it, and I don't care that it won for that. I kind of because it didn't fucking come out this year.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay. If
true.
we're going with this, can we just go with Superman 64 being game of the year every year, please?
Oh,
Thank
Game
you.
of the year, Superman 64, critical fail. Wow, critical. Yeah, that one.
Nice.
Game of the year,
Yeah, YouTube
best game
channel.
ever.
It's gonna be
So,
our
have
game of the
they-
year every year until we're done.
Can we just have a thumbnail of Superman 64 box art on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen for the rest of this time? Like from now on, from
Nice.
this point on.
Yes.
just have it
I will mark it.
Can we put a little? So the big rigs over the road racing
Yeah.
image,
Yes.
the your winner.
Yeah,
Can you put that can you put that trophy like right in the middle of it? Like,
yeah, I
really
got you.
small?
It's
Dude,
already right
this-
there, right
this-
there, right now.
This thumbnail is getting pretty busy. Goddamn, I'm excited. So have either of you played Red Dead 2?
No, I just haven't had time, man.
You bought it for me
I-
for Christmas, but I have not had a chance to play it yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I need to play it.
It's amazing. I understand. It's very different. Well, not very. It's different from a typical Rockstar like game, like a GTA game.
Mhm.
Like you expect a lot of like weird and wacky characters that you go and get missions from. A lot of like, I guess. Okay, I don't really know how to explain this. It's a very simple story. Did either of you two ever play the first one?
Yes, I did. I played it. I didn't play it a whole lot. I really enjoyed it, but I did play it a bit. Yes, I never completed
Okay,
it.
Michael, you.
I have not touched any of Red Dead 2.
Well,
What about Red Dead 1?
Oh, Red Dead 1. I'm sorry. Red Dead 1. Yes, I played it once, and then I played the Undead Nightmare DLC, which
Everyone
strangely
did.
which is great.
I enjoyed that more than the base game.
I think I did
I'm
too.
just gonna be honest. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I
It
enjoy.
is
It's just you're going through this. So like it's just bizarre in some games, right? You set this giant open world, and it's just chaos, and things are just and nowhere is safe. And I always like that. Like nowhere is safe because either it's a plague, people have gone crazy, or whatever it is. And I feel like the setting in Red Dead, whenever you see it normally, you play through the game normally, just normal days. Go to a town, do buy some shit and leave. But when you play Undead Nightmare, nowhere is safe. Zombies everywhere. It's just
Bigfoot.
yeah, Bigfoot, and you have all these crazy horses you can get. It's just I really like that aspect. Like I don't know, just something you're familiar with. You take it and then you add chaos to it, and it just becomes completely unfamiliar all of a sudden.
Well,
Yeah,
Red
that-
Dead 2 is essentially a prequel to Red Dead 1. It's set 12 years earlier, and you know that gang that John Marston was a part of that he
Yeah.
then that in the first game he has to hunt down.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Red Dead 2 essentially tells the story of the gang in their,
Ah.
I guess, in their prime. So it's like there's not a lot of how do I put this? In a lot of like, especially GTA, you start the story and then you like go and meet all these totally different characters who give you missions, like Bruce, Kibitz, or fucking Roman, or
Roman
Brother, want to go bowling?
yeah,
Co-
or cousin, dude, not
Co-
brother.
cousin.
Oh,
Dude.
cousin. I'm sorry. I here's my GTA card.
Or Woozy, or just crazy. But for Red Dead 2, all the characters you get missions from are essentially just people in your gang, just in your camp, and you sort of form this brotherhood with these other characters. And it's very strange for a Rockstar game. I think it's great, but I think it's very strange and it's unusual to not have this like
It's a more serious
expansive-
story.
kind of, yeah, it's a more serious, simple, like low key story. Well, maybe low key isn't the right word either, but there's less emphasis on like this huge cast of weird, wacky characters. And God, it's just so fucking good. It's a slower game than you might expect too. Like just walking around the place and trotting around the place is just fun, and the story's great. It's just like I'm so positive about it that I don't even know where to start. Like I'm just kind of rambling about how good it is. I don't even know where to start with it.
We should be careful too, because it's a true story based game, so you don't want to spoil anything either.
Yeah, definitely.
So how about this?
Man,
Was there a point in the game where it went from okay, this is a good game to holy shit, this is a fantastic game?
To be honest, that moment was at the beginning.
Oh, okay, okay.
I saw some complaints, and I can understand them. I don't agree with them, but I understand about how the tutorial was a bit slow because it's kind of like the first chapter is a tutorial to try and get you into how the game is. But I really enjoyed it because it sort of sets up the story. It gets you really involved with the other characters. And it's just, there's been a lot of complaints about how the game is maybe a bit too slow in just gameplay, like looting and going, riding around everywhere because the map is fucking huge. It's enormous. It's insane. And the horses, it's sometimes more enjoyable to go to just trot around the map than full gallop, just explore. But man, I just kind of, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It's just easily my game of the year. It's easily my game of the year.
Would you say it's in your top 5, top 10?
I'd say it's pretty close.
You know what's funny though? Now that you say that,
what's funny?
Wesley said that was his favorite game of all time now, the best game ever made.
But more than Metal Gear Solid 3?
You have to say the whole thing, Joe. I don't know what you're talking about.
Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he said it.
Wow,
he said it was better than that.
Oh, as opposed to Metal Gear Solid 3, not Snake Eater.
Yeah, I could sort of see where he's coming from though. It is just from a story perspective and a gameplay perspective, it is just basically perfect to me.
That's a tall thing to say, but not controversial.
It's just so fucking good
because everyone is on the love train for this game.
Yeah, it's so fucking good. I really can't recommend it enough.
And it's selling too, dude. Like I thought it wasn't going to sell nearly as well as GTA 5, which, granted, not as well, but it's still selling like fucking hotcakes. Like I think Amazon had issues with back orders for a little bit there.
It's the highest ever how do I put this? Highest ever entertainment launch weekend.
Yes.
So
which is better than movies, better than films, or movies, films, anything.
Movies and films are different things. Yes.
Yes, they're. I said it twice, which is even better.
Movies, any
games.
entertainment event is the highest selling weekend ever. It doesn't beat GTA because it
would start on Tuesday.
It didn't come out on a weekend, which was the highest launch of all time. But GTA got about over 1 billion in its first week, and Red Dead Redemption 2 got 725 million over its first weekend.
Man, it didn't sell enough.
It deserves it.
It didn't sell enough.
It really deserves it.
And then people wonder, and then we hear the thing about like game publishers saying they don't have enough money. Motherfucker, you just had the biggest launch in history, and you're gonna say you have no money? Okay, that's cool, I guess.
I mean, Rockstar has got to be the most successful entertainment company in history at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like they have 2 of the biggest launches ever. Like top 5.
I don't
2 of their best games ever, or 2 of the most biggest games ever, belong to them.
Yeah, like they might be rivaling, fucking Disney at this. Well, not Disney, maybe Star Wars or Marvel, but. It's just insane, and it's so well deserved. IMO. I know there is a sort of a vocal minority, and that's not to say that their opinions don't matter, but they are a vocal minority of people who don't like it again because they feel like the gameplay's a bit slow. But I think it feels so much better for that. Oh, and hot take.
Ooh.
Hot take.
Oh, hot takes. Hot take.
Arthur Morgan is better than John Marston.
Whoa! I liked him though. That's controversial. I liked him. I'm gonna have to play this game now.
Yeah, John. Here's the thing. John Marston's great.
Oof. People gonna. Well, I can see why this video already has like 20 downvotes as soon as we put it up.
Actually, I think
I'm gonna go downvote it myself.
You would be surprised by how many people would say the same thing. How about that one? How about that? I think most people would probably agree that Arthur Morgan is better than John Marston.
We can't. The biggest thing is we can't really have an input on this since we haven't really played it. So that's a big thing.
It makes me want to play it though. But the thing is, at a time sink, it's gonna be a huge time sink, so I don't have the time for that right now. So
it's fucking long. Oh my god, it took me 2 weeks to beat just the story.
How many hours was that?
The story took me, and I'm trying about 60 hours.
60 hours?
So I want to put it like this. Sometimes I put stock into how fast speedrunners can beat a game, and I can take that as how long it will be. The speedrun for this game is 15 hours long. So I already know it's a really fucking long game.
That's like, is there a Persona 5 speedrun?
I can look it up real quick.
So Persona 5 took me about 105 hours to beat.
On hard or what difficulty?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, the hard difficulty, true ending, whatever it is, 17 hours, 5 minutes. So I can already see that is a very long speed run.
Imagine fucking that up at the 16-hour mark.
Oh, that happens all the time in Final Fantasy. Like Final Fantasy speedrunners, they will go through this long ass game, go through all these discs. They mess up one trick, they lose all their time instantly, and they lost like however many hours that entire one was, and they're like, "Well, fuck, that happened."
Fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that. I'm not about
Clint,
that.
you should stream, I guess, Red Dead Redemption 2 when you get to it.
I will say probably won't be until after AGDQ. So it's still going to be about 2 months.
When's AGDQ?
AGDQ is the 6th to the 13th of January.
But Clint, it will be old news by then.
I don't care. Fuck it.
Wow.
We'll do it live. Let's be honest. Is there going to be anything in January? Well, no, I lied. Kingdom Hearts. Okay, I lied.
Yes.
It's gonna be May when I can play this game.
Wait, so hold on. For me, right? Resident Evil remake, Kingdom Hearts in January, right? Resident Evil remake. Okay, hold on. Let me just get this month out of the way. Already had Fallout 76. I put a good 40 hours into that. So that's done. Pokemon Let's Go, Smash, and then Resident Evil remake. Got to play that, and then Kingdom Hearts. Got to play that. And then Metro comes out in February, got to play that. And then Devil May Cry comes out in March, got to play that. Yeah, just kill me. Just kill me.
Yeah, you're a busy boy.
So he's also going to play it in May. So
wait, actually, I still have to play God of War. I haven't beat that. I haven't even started that yet.
Okay, I lied. August 2019.
Oh, for fuck's sake. God damn.
Yep, that's my life right now.
But if there is anyone who hasn't got it yet, if those people exist, then I would highly recommend getting it. I mean, to
how
hear
is
Wesley say
how is I'm sorry. Finish what you say. Sorry.
Oh, to hear Wesley say that it's his favorite game of all time, I like having played it. I totally understand where he's coming from. It's so fucking good. It's so lit.
How is Red Dead Online?
I haven't played it because
I'm
poor
stuff?
and don't have Xbox Live, but I have seen stuff of it, and I mean, the game itself is fun, as you probably would have expected, but there is very much a lot of GTA Online kind of money-esque bullshits.
I'm surprised it is just Control-C, Control-V the whole entire online.
Yeah, fucking airplanes in Red Dead.
I would imagine the horseback with like Gatling guns on it.
Can we have the rare like gold horse that like goes super fast across the world and like has fucking rockets coming out of his ass?
Oh no.
So there's like so you can make gold bars in the game, which in the single player are worth a lot. They're worth about $500 in the single player, which holy shit is a lot of money in the single player. But you can make them in the multiplayer by getting these nuggets. You get gold nuggets, and you get, I think, 8, and that makes 1 gold bar. And I think it takes 50 minutes of doing missions to get 1 gold bar.
Yeah, fuck that.
Now, for comparison, I saw a horse that cost about 15 gold bars.
Jesus.
I saw a color for a gun, because you can modify your guns and shit, and there's like a coloring you can get for your gun that I think was, if I remember correctly, 38 gold bars.
So you're saying they're not easing into it like they kind of did with GTA. They're going like fucking balls deep, fucking buy microtransactions bitch mode. We
will see if it, because it's still in beta. We'll see if that changes, because obviously there was not great feedback to that. We will see if that changes.
That horse armor is looking better and better every day.
Right?
Should we move on to that?
The horse armor? Yeah, let's talk about horse armor.
Well, more onto the originator of that horse armor.
Oh, the horse that died. Oh, gotcha. Yes,
it's already been beaten.
It's already been beaten. We're gonna beat it some more. I have a stick ready. I'm ready to fucking whack at it.
Yeah, we're a couple of weeks late, but let's get in on this.
Okay, where do we begin? Where do we fucking begin with this shit?
Okay, so let's start at the beginning.
Fallout 76 came out, right? Am I tracking?
A couple of weeks ago, a game called Fallout 76 came out. It was a game in the Fallout franchise.
Really?
It was the third game released by Bethesda in the Fallout franchise.
Yeah.
And it's fucking bombing. It is doing really bad.
What is the Metacritic score?
It's probably changed since I last looked.
Still,
but I think
still
it's 49.
Let's
Yeah,
see. The PC, it's 54.
PS4 is 51.
And and Xbox is 49.
Okay, that's probably why I remember. What's the Open Critic?
Open Critic's probably not much better.
Yeah. And the user reviews are obviously in the fucking toilet, although that's
that's
you can't
always
judged by those.
You can't like we can talk about that at some point in the future, but voting by people now is just dumb. So
yeah, user scores are useless now. The internet has ruined user reviews.
Yeah, good job, internet.
Brigade everything. So
like cool. they brigaded Let's Go because it was casual. Like fuck off.
Yeah, there's just no point to it anymore. There's no point. There's no point to looking at user reviews anymore. It's just useless. But so the game came out. It has had a lot of bad reception, not just from the critics, but from the people who bought it as well. It's gotten a lot of shit. Apparently, it's not selling very well. It was like 42% off on Amazon
like
the other day.
$30.
Yeah, something like that. Which people said, oh, it's just because it's Black Friday. It's like the game came out 11 days previous. If it was going to have a Black Friday sale, it would be like 5 or 10% off, not 42% off.
Yeah, I think Battlefield 5 had the same thing.
Yeah, apparently that's not doing so great either.
Yep,
so who knows? But so ever since then, there's been a number of issues. So I guess Michael's the only one who's played it, so he'll have to talk us through the gameplay side of it because Clinton.
How does it play? How is it?
Yeah. How do you like?
Have you experienced anything that has broken your experience yet?
Yeah, definitely all the time.
Oh,
Okay. Starting off, I don't even know where to begin with this.
Do you like it? Do you like the game? Do you enjoy it?
I like it. I don't think I'd like it as much if I didn't have friends to play with. I think
Borderlands.
Yeah. Okay, so my take is that it's definitely. I'd give it probably a 6 out of 10, to be honest. That's being
and this is
very
a Fallout
well.
lover. Like this guy loves Fallout.
Yeah. I've got all the achievements for every single Fallout game that just came out after from what 3 and out. So 3 Vegas, 4, and I spent a lot of time.
And you put in a lot of money. You bought the like Pit-Boy edition for Fallout 4 and all that stuff too.
I did. Yeah. I ended up getting the Pit-Boy edition, which is basically a glorified Happy Meal toy. But anyway, besides the point.
He's not wrong. He
isn't.
So I mean, it's cool to have. Yeah, but anyway, so I think the biggest thing that happens consistently in that game is, of course, you have the server disconnects. Your friends list doesn't work because it's through the shitty Bethesda launcher. If everything was through Steam, everything would be 100 times better so far as interactivity. And yeah,
then if the reviews would be literally in the single digits. So
yeah, so I mean, at the base, like just at the base game, it's fun. Whenever I play a Fallout game, I go in, I explore, I look around, I find shit, and that's 76 has a lot of that because the world's so big.
It looks like Fallout 4 to me. A lot of I watched some friends play. I'm like, yeah, this looks like Fallout 4.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it's just the way how everything was. They didn't really. I mean, I will say that the lighting is very good in the game, but the textures, in some areas, you can tell that it looks like a PS1 game. It just looks like dog shit. It looks like something I drew with crayon.
To, like, go between extremes. Like I see some stuff of it, and it looks really good. It looks really pretty. It's really colorful.
Yeah,
and then there's some other stuff where it's just like,
it's all the lighting.
What console is this?
It's all in the lighting. The lighting, they did a really good job, and their photo mode is just beautiful. Like you just do so much with their photo mode, and you could just take you can take really nice photos.
The lighting is so good, it cuts through the world in some ways.
It does. Sometimes you'll be behind a rock, and then the lighting will just kind of come through and say hello. You still can't see behind this rock.
Yeah, those god rays.
It's definitely fun though. So going in, so like we've had a few instances. I think it was me and Jason, right? We go into this place. We go into White Spring, right? It's like this big resort area, big golf course. We're just walking around, and we just run into a giant pack of ghouls. And I shit you not, there were like 30 ghouls in this pack, just kind of chasing us. And we're just frantic. We're like, oh god, what the fuck do we do? What do we do? So we start running and running, and we almost died like 60 times. So there's definitely a lot of moments where I can recall that I've had a lot of fun, but there's also a lot of moments where it's like, what do I do right now? Where do I go? There are quests. The quests are, just like any other Fallout quest. You go in, you do things, go here, do this, and it's kind of hard to say, fetch quest when that's what most quests are, anyways, in a lot of games anyway. If you really think about it,
especially a lot of Bethesda games.
Yeah, or like yeah, pretty much. I guess
there's only a handful of Bethesda quests that I can think of that weren't fetch quests, and that's again still very few and far in between.
I will say that the best quest in this game that I've done so far is the DMV quest, where you have to.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, you so essentially you have to register like as part of the military in order to register your power armor. So you have to go get a license. You have to an ID. Then you have to go get it notarized, and then you have to go get you go through like 20 different steps, and you have to go to this DMV where there are a bunch of Mr. Handies, and they talk really slow, like this. You have to grab a number, you have to sit there, wait for them to call your number, and then they call your number, and then they tell you this is the wrong line, and then you have to go to the other Mr. Handy, and they did really good on that.
Funny.
It's really funny.
They did
funny. Really good on that.
Is it like the sloth in Zootopia, like that type of sloth?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god, it's amazing. Dude, that's Bethesda humor I love.
But I mean, there's just a lot wrong with it. I mean, if the game was a lot less buggy and had, I guess more of like a sense to do, because I hit level 53, I think. I'm like level 53. That's at level 50. You stop getting special points, so your character build is done. After level 50, you're basically end game. So I've hit level 50. So VATS, I hear everybody complaining about VATS, which I don't understand, because VATS is really damn good. You can make a really damn good build that just destroys in VATS. And I actually, for the first time ever, went for a sneak build, and it works so good. It just does so much damage. VATS is basically aimbot, right?
Like, I think that's what the complaint is. It's not that it's not good, it's that it is basically just a weird fucking aimbot.
But see, it does it in its own way, and I guess that makes sense. But I mean, that's how VATS always was. That's what it is.
Kind of, but it was a bit more strategic. It wasn't like it. Like you could like, you had to sort. I don't know. I can't say because I haven't played it, but it seems like
I wouldn't really
different.
say. So I guess it depends on the game you're talking about. In Fallout 3 New Vegas, VATS was strategic in the sense that you could definitely aim for like limbs and stuff and cripple enemies. You can still do that in this game, albeit it's a little harder because the controls are really janky in VATS. For some reason, you have the scroll wheel actually toggles the parts that you're aiming at for whatever reason. I don't know why they did that. It's just really janky. I don't know. VATS has always been really powerful. Fallout 3, most overpowered broken thing in the game. New Vegas toned it down, was still really good. Fallout 4 still VATS builds are still really good. It's always been really good. It's always been a super good thing to invest in. You can always have super strong builds. And I guess that's another thing too in this game. Everybody complains about the perk cards, which I don't understand either. Which I understand in a sense that like if we're arguing it's okay. So the way it works, right? You start at level 1. Every 5 levels, you get a set of perk cards, right? And now I'm fairly certain it was something they decided to scrap. Because it's like, oh, we can't do this because Star Wars got a bunch of shit, which I'm glad it didn't turn out the way that I'm thinking it did, right? But every time you level up, you get a card, right? And you get to pick out a set of cards. So like, let's say level 1, you level up to level 2. You can pick 3 different cards. They all do their different things. The perk card can only give you, like the pack of cards can only give you whatever. Well, it could give you anything, but some perk cards have restrictions to certain levels. So, like, let's say if you get a level 26 card, you still can't use it to level 26. When you hit 26, you can choose to get that card. There's never a time where it's like, oh man, I wish I could get this card out of this pack. It's, oh, I got this card out of this pack. It just makes it a little easier for me. That's all it is. It's never wishing you get something. The perk cards are just a bonus, like the packs themselves. But I just kind of wish, because the cards themselves, you can unequip them and change everything completely whenever you want. So like if I'm gonna go craft, I just unequip all my like combat abilities, and then I equip crafting abilities, craft, and then switch back to combat abilities, which is really weird because that's not really a build at that point. It's not a permanent thing. So it just kind of there's not really a lot of thought going behind it. It's just, oh hey, this card's cool, I'm just gonna pick it and use it for later. And that's the one thing I really don't like. I mean, if the game was a lot less buggy, it'd be so much better. It's just the glitches just kind of kill it.
Yeah, this is something that it's a multiplayer. I mean, Bethesda games have always had a huge amount of bugs. Yeah. Although I personally, I've been lucky in that I've never had any of the big bugs that people experience. I've never had like quest lines deleting themselves or faces going upside down or whatever.
That's the best one.
Yeah, that one in New Vegas is fucking. Although that's not Bethesda, but the one in New Vegas is fucking terrifying.
I mean, it's their engine,
face
so
just going upside down.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
New Vegas still the best Fallout.
Even in single player, there's been a lot of bugs, but in multiplayer, like it's a different ball game. You can't have that many bugs in a multiplayer game. You just can't.
It feels like I'm playing something that's an alpha, which is a lot of content in it. Well,
I've seen that comparison a lot. It just feels like this should be an early access game.
Yeah, and they're definitely right. Like they're definitely not wrong about that. The game just feels super. There's nowhere near. You can't say polished because it's definitely not. They didn't even. I don't know, man. I bet you the testers who just sit there and play the game had a field day with this.
I always feel bad for bug testers because they always get the shit when games come out buggy and they talk, oh, the bug testers not doing their job properly. Like the bug testers have done their job fine. It's their managers who don't report the bugs or just decide that they're not, that these bugs aren't a big enough deal to fix. So that's how you get these really big bugs. Yeah, you just have bad management of the Q&A testers. So they always get the shit for it. And I feel like that's kind of happened here as well. I've seen, some comments about how, Bethesda's Q&A are really shit. They must not exist. Dude, Q&A testers are some of the most patient, like intensely hardworking people in the games industry. That is a miserable, monotonous job that you have to just, do everything in the game over and over and over again. Like you have to walk into this wall for 3 minutes, press A 3 times, equip the menu, and see if that crashes the game.
As someone who does a lot of speedrunning, and I do a lot of tricks and things constantly for hours just to make sure I master it, I can imagine how monotonous and dumb that can get really fast. But you also have to be patient. Like, okay. And you have to be
you
like,
do it for this rock. Now do it for that rock. Now do it for that wall. Now do it up those stairs.
Now you have to figure out, like, is this a theme? Like, it does happen for everything. Like, there's a lot of reporting that has to be done, and it's a thankless job for sure. And
what happens if you do all of that, but then you also jump and spin in a circle at the same time? So do all that again. It's like, oh my god! If a game ever comes out with a serious amount of bugs, it is very rarely because QA testers aren't doing their jobs or QA testers aren't being hired. It's because the people who manage those QA testers aren't doing their jobs, or the people who they report to, who are supposed to say to the developers, hey, these are the bugs you got to fix, please fix them. That person's not doing their job. It's very rarely that the Q&A testers are just shit. But
what's your indie?
And there's also a thing where I think Bethesda got a lot of slack for previous games with bugs, and it kind of became like just a running joke that, haha, Bethesda games have bugs. It's funny. It's like it's an inside joke, huh? And people forgave those bugs because they enjoyed the game. They enjoyed Skyrim, Fallout 4, Fallout 3, etc. But when they don't like a game, when they hate a game like this, all that goodwill goes out the window. And nobody will tolerate these bugs anymore just because, they're not having a good time with the game regardless. Plus, there's bugs. So why would they, there's nothing to enjoy there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the older games, Skyrim, Morrowind had bug. It was buggy, I'm pretty sure. Fallout 4, like, they were Oblivion especially. The games were fucking fantastic in terms of everything else. It's just the bugs will happen. And you're like, You might just have a
you put
up with it. Like, for example, everyone's favorite bug in Skyrim was like you get floated into fucking space by a giant. That's a bug technically.
What was
that?
that?
Bug?
I think they said it was a bug, but they were like, "This is funny. We're going to keep it in." So
I remember,
that sounds right.
I remember going to the Skyrim launch night at GameStop, and we were all just waiting in line to pick up the game, right? And there was this kid. They had these displays outside, and I just remember it being really cold. But anyway, this kid playing outside, They had some, PS3 set up with or Xbox set up with Skyrim, and he ran into that glitch and he flew into the sky, and this kid started freaking out. Like, he started laughing. He's probably about 16, right? He starts freaking out. He starts laughing his ass off. He just starts going crazy. I don't know, man. It was the funniest thing I've seen somebody do like that, like at a launch night like that. Oh my. That glitch is legendary.
It's great. It becomes
you don't
part of the
expect
fun
it
when you have little glitches like that.
What was that bug with the lion that, like, the guy, he comes across a lion, he kills it, and then it just starts like freaking out, starts spinning.
I know that, and it goes up into the sky.
That's like my
I
favorite
remember
video.
that video.
I don't remember that one, but that's just funny. Like,
it becomes part of the fun. It's just these little bugs.
But there were very, like, I'll be honest, like, if you look at a fucking like bug list for every one of those games I just mentioned, it's extensive. It is humongous.
Oh,
But to be fair to them, it's also really huge games. They're like one of the only companies that do these huge ass games. It's gonna happen, and they do their best to mitigate it to the point where quest lines do not become broken. There's probably only a handful of quests that do that, but even then, that's really difficult. But
see, I think we'll get into, I guess, engine stuff later, but I think that used to be true. But with the amount of companies doing, huge open world games, Rockstar with Red Dead 2, Assassin's Creed has bugs, obviously. What other big open world games are there? The Witcher.
Okay, fair enough. They weren't really the first, but they were the first. They were the only ones for a little bit.
Bethesda is kind of behind now, in terms of having an enormous amount of bugs in open world games, like an insane amount of bugs, and not a lot of companies have that anymore. They've learned it is very unusual now for a different developer to release a game that has as many bugs, but for an open world game to have as many bugs as Bethesda does. At this point, it's basically a Bethesda problem, and that's fine, as long as you enjoy the game and as long as the bugs aren't too severe.
But in 76's case,
a fun little thing.
It's not fun for the most part, and the bugs just add to the frustrations.
Yeah, exactly. You hate the game, and then you have all these bugs on top of it, and that just makes you even more annoyed at it. So that's not been going well for them. They've not been getting a lot of forgiveness.
How about this is a question? So even before it was released, the day of it was announced at E3 of this year, there was already ill will towards Bethesda for doing this. Do you think that just got stronger and stronger as the game got closer and closer, and it just, as soon as it became apparent that this game is not that well polished, it is kind of just engulfed them all at once? Or like, do you what I'm trying to say is, do you think people came in with bad ideas, bad vibes?
I do, and that's one of the things I was most curious about with this game, because there's always, whenever there's change in a franchise, just take Pokemon for instance, whenever there's a slight change, there will always be some unhappiness. And there's already been a growing vocal minority of people who increasingly dislike Bethesda games because they think they're getting more shallow. Take Fallout 4, and Fallout 4, that audience grew from Skyrim, of that amount of people who thought that Bethesda games were getting more shit and more shallow. And so you take that crowd, and then you add the people who are distrustful of an online game. And I was curious to see if that was just still a vocal minority, or whether that would impact how the game actually performed. And one thing that got clearer as we got closer to the game coming out was that for the very first time, the bad vibes about a Bethesda games were outdoing the good vibes. Like, people are usually really hyped about a Bethesda game, about Fallout 4, Skyrim, Oblivion.
I
blah, blah, blah,
think
blah.
I'll be honest. I
And this
think
was the first time that I feel like the backlash was greater than the hype, and that was very weird.
I think the beta did them in a lot too, because people didn't really know anything about it going in, but then the beta happened and everyone saw it and they're like, "This is coming out in 3 weeks,
A month,
a month, what?" So people were like, but maybe this is an old build, right? Maybe this is just an old build.
Yeah, maybe they'll fix all of these.
Maybe they'll fix all these." But then it golded, and the people were like, "Oh no," and they got closer, and they were like, "Oh no," and the Bethesda didn't really talk about much, and it's like, "Oh no," and it just got worse and worse, getting closer, and then it just avalanched. Like it just got worse and worse, and it's still avalanching.
It was a rare case of a vocal minority completely like taking over and becoming the vocal majority. Like most people were not excited about the game. Most people were nervous about it. Most people were predisposed to hating it. Even before it came out, I think there were user reviews on stuff of people saying, "Oh, this is shit. It's online. Bethesda's destroyed Fallout, blah, blah, blah." And that... So yeah, I think you are right. I think going into this game, a lot of people just hated the idea of it. And then when it turned out to, most people think it's bad, and when most people hated it anyway, that just emboldened them. So Bethesda was always kind of fucked on this regardless.
Yeah.
Michael, from the people you've played with, I won't name them because I don't want to name and shame, but you play with a lot of people in our Discord.
Shame.
You play with a lot of people in our Discord. What are their general thoughts? Like, do they enjoy the game? Do they think, or do they think
everybody that I play with 100% knows that this game does have his issues. Nobody's gonna say, "Oh, it's a perfect game." It's fun because we're all playing together, because we're all doing this. But again, I can still compare that to beating a bag of shit is fun if you have friends to do it with.
It's funny because I made a joke about this before we started, but that's one of the biggest criticisms about Borderlands is that it's really only fun with friends. Yeah, if you take away the friends aspect, it's like it's a game. It's all right, but it's just not nearly as fun because you can't do crazy shit by yourself.
At least Borderlands has people in it. Like Fallout 76 is just empty. There's robots and a super mutant, and that's it. Like there's no life to it. There's no heart to it.
I mean, yeah, because when you look at a Fallout game, you look for NPCs. This the dialogue, the karma.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But in this one, it's all interactions with other people.
They're the NPCs, etc.
I think that
was a very bad idea.
Yeah, they were trying to go for the whole, like new world, y'all are working together aspect. And when they announced it, I kind of had this idea of maybe it was like a player ran world, kind of like how EVE Online is or whatever. Like it's completely player managed. The guys who made EVE, they're like, here's our universe. Have at it. Do what you want. We're gonna be hands off unless you do something fucking stupid. And I was kind of thinking that with this game, I think that would be perfect because you rebuilding a civilization together, but it's not even that either. So it's like it kind of in a weird identity crisis in a lot of aspects too. On top of that,
it's like
it wants to be a lot of things, but it's not any of those. It's trying to be really good. It's trying to be really good at a bunch of things, but it's not good at any of them. It's below par. It's far below par on all of them.
It wants to be something, but it just doesn't have the infrastructure to support it. So it wants the players to be the NPCs, to create your own stories with other players. Well, there's only 24 per server, and it's a huge map. How often are you going to run into them? And you can't have settlements with only 24 people. You can't have these big adventures with people because there's not there's not a huge conversational thing you can do between
hold this
players.
For a second. How good is endgame, Michael?
Okay.
Oh, good question.
So I know this is a big thing too. I haven't really done a lot in endgame. I have my own goals that I have yet to hit. that I'm still looking for, like getting plans for certain guns so that way I can craft the guns. So essentially right now I'm the crafter for the group. So I have all these plans and I have all these perks.
You're always the crafter.
Yeah, pretty much. So like, they're like, hey man, I need this gun. Can you make me one? So I'll make one and I'll just, just pimp it the fuck out and have it do so, get whatever attachments they want on it. My end game is essentially just, getting the plans, doing this, doing that. The only end game they have right now is, hey, there's a nuke, blow it. You launch the nuke, you go to the place, a bunch of high level monsters spawn, and
that's it.
And you go kill it, and then that's it. Yeah, that's the end game.
Yeah. So really, it's not like the end game is what killed Destiny 2 for the longest time. There was no end game.
Yeah.
There was the raid. That was it. It's like, what the fuck do I do after this? And you can't really make your own adventure if you have no content. Like, that's a cool idea. Don't get me wrong. It's kind of like Minecraft in a way is like create your own adventure, but that had content. There's stuff to do in that.
There's a lot. Yeah, even because I played a lot of alpha Minecraft.
Yeah, there was still plenty to do.
Yeah, like but compared to this, and I will definitely say that I will most certainly get bored of this game. There's going to be a time where I'm going to be like, wow, there's nothing for me to do. What the fuck am I doing? And I'll just play.
And that's going to be like,
else.
and for comparison, that will probably be at like the 75-hour to 100-hour mark compared to Minecraft, where it took us it took me a couple thousand hours to get to the point where I'm bored.
Oh fuck, I don't know about that, but
no,
that was me. That was me. I was bored after a couple
still go back to it every now and then, because Minecraft is the perfect make your own story game.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely is.
Well, it just doesn't have any of the systems in place to facilitate that.
Mm-hmm. And it definitely doesn't.
You see on the subreddit, on the 76 subreddit, that people sometimes have these really cool interactions, these RP, and that's great. That it's somewhat.
My favorite is the Preston one. Sorry, side note.
Oh, yep,
The Preston.
The Preston Garvey.
Yeah, he's like, your settlements need your help. That's the best one. Best one by far.
Great. It's just like, it feels like it, and you could see. It feels like to me, and I'm just speculating. I don't want to say this is definitely what happened, but it feels like at the top of the game management, some bad decisions were made, and there was some. They might have thought that they could do more with the make your own story than they actually could, and I think that can be seen in the always on mic palaver. You remember that when they said that they wanted everyone's mic to always be on?
Which so everyone in the PC community were like, no, don't do that. And they're like, no, we're gonna have it. It's gonna be fine.
Everyone in any community is like that, because it's like they wanted it to be on because they wanted everyone to feel like their own NPC. They wanted everyone to feel like a real person that you run into. But that kind of logic ignores that most people don't have a great mic. Most people
are not in a perfectly quiet environment like we are for recording.
I mean, a lot of people I'm sure are going to go in expecting, to play it like a single player game. It's always been a single player game.
There's
and
also
everybody's going to conversate.
Noises in the background. There's going to be dogs barking. There's going to be people talking. There's going to be phone calls. There's going to be,
It's like again, I'd like to bring up that time so Elder Scrolls Online on console has open mic always, and I was watching my brother play that, and he finishes a dungeon, and at the end of the dungeon it re-instances you with everybody else, right? So there's a guy just sitting there and he's sleeping. You can hear him snoring. He's just fucking sleeping.
That's amazing, actually.
That's the kind of shit that they should have thought about if they were with this. Like, how did it not occur to them that?
Or you hear, it's just.
It's an image. It's an ideal image that they have of like everyone in the wasteland, and then everyone's perfectly quiet until they meet, and then they have this cool conversation, and they team up, and there's no weird noises in the background. There's no, people blasting Darude in the background. There's no idiot.
I will do that, by the way.
There's no idiots like spamming just dumb shit everywhere through the mic. It's like they should have. It feels like that they had an idea of what it should be, but they didn't have the systems to do it. But they still pushed forward regardless, and therefore you have a game that's not even close to what it should be.
Yeah.
What it's intended.
It's just, I don't know, man. There's just so much shit they could have fixed that they didn't fix. I think there's a bug with one of the guns, the lever action rifle. So the lever action rifle, right? You shoot it, And yeah, it was in Fallout 4. It was the same bug was in Fallout 4 where you shoot it, and you're supposed to chamber it one round at a time like a shotgun, right? So like with a shotgun, you can shoot and you can interrupt reloading by shooting, and you'll still like if you pump 4 shell. Yeah, okay. So the lever action rifle has to reload all 5 rounds every single time, no matter how many times you shoot. You have to go through the animation of reloading all 5 before you can shoot again. Which it's just like that's a whole gun that just makes it a lot less, not as good as it should be. It's a great gun.
I think that didn't help them at all. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think that did them even further was that there's a list of bugs that were in Fallout 4 that is in 76, and that's embarrassing. I feel, in my opinion,
bad.
That's embarrassing.
Really bad. Because
I'm pretty sure a bunch of these bugs were also documented. They were probably told about this, and there's even modders who fixed them, and they're still in the game. Why?
Yep.
Why? Why is that a thing? I get that this is like the Fallout 4 engine. Don't get me wrong. I understand that completely. But you had an additional, how long has it been since Fallout 4? 3 years? They had an additional 3 years to fix these bugs, and you didn't fix the bugs? Why? What are you guys doing?
It speaks to me that, like, again, speculating, that there might be some kind of weird project management going on at Bethesda, because they just have, I guess in a minute we're probably going to get into engine, because this is getting into engine stuff, and a lot of people have talked about the engine, but it feels like that there's just not the right priorities with fixing certain things with Bethesda games anymore. Like, they just sort of leave it now. I don't know. It's very strange. And you're right. It is really embarrassing to have bugs from a previous game in your current game, especially ones that were fixed by modders. Like,
there's a big bug going around right now where if you go to a certain area, it crashes your game, and when you reload, you're still in that area, so you re-crash again.
Oh, it's at the very right side of the map, right?
Yeah.
I saw that. There was a big thread on the subreddit about that. It's like a square. You go here, you're gonna crash. No ifs or ands or buts about it. You will crash. You will reload. You will crash. You're stuck until they fix it. It's like, how did this get in? Why? How did this get in? Like,
Bethesda has a huge QA team. I think there was a picture posted to the subreddit of like a photograph of them all just hanging out, and they have a pretty big QA team. So
one of them had to have found it.
Well, maybe not that one in particular, but like other bugs like it that also haven't been fixed will have been found by them. So why weren't they fixed? What is happening between them reporting it and it getting to the developers? How is it just like...
Isn't it that there's also invulnerability bugs that were present in 4 that's also present in 76 as well?
I don't know about invulnerability bugs. I know there is an invulnerability bug in Fallout 76.
That one guy who cannot die by anything, including death planes.
The legend.
The legend himself.
There's a guy... It might be a gal, actually. I don't know. Who... Because it's a female character, so I just don't like to assume. Who made a thread on the subreddit saying that I'm immortal. I did a weird bug by accident, and I'm immortal, and I can't do anything because there's no challenge to anything, and I'm also concerned. I think they were also concerned they might get banned if they tried to participate in any community events or whatever. And they're like, I want to die. Please.
And then people, like, you see all these comments, people like suggesting stuff, like really weird stuff, and then one person's like, just go to this one area. It's a death plane. And they're like, yeah, I did that. I didn't die. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What?
They survived a nuke. They were in the middle of a nuke and they didn't die. They just walked through the nuke. And they're like, I want to be able to play the game. I want to play the game. Please fix the bug. I want to die. And to my knowledge, I don't know if it's been fixed yet.
I don't think it has. I don't think they haven't even acknowledged it, which is another thing. They're not acknowledging anything. They have?
I think they've acknowledged it, but I don't know if they fixed it.
But again, okay, we can talk about that like after the engine part. But their PR's a nightmare as well. So the engine. God. So you are the one, Joe, that has probably spent the most with the creation engine.
I haven't had much first-hand experience with the engine, but I know people who have, and I know a little bit about
that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a very technically minded person, so I don't understand the ins and outs totally of the engine, but I know sort of
The
its
processes.
eccentricities, and I think because there's been a lot of talk across the whole internet, the whole of gaming world, about how the engine for Fallout 76 is total shit, and some concern that they're having the engine for Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6.
And you
And
you
people are
linked me
really
to a really
worried
good
about it.
article by Jason Schreier on Kotaku,
Yeah,
who talked about in depth about how engines actually work. Like we think of it as this like you like the Unreal Engine, but and the TLDR of it all is that it's just a tool. There's a bunch of
it's a
tools that you
toolkit.
use. Yeah, it's a toolkit.
And I think people are getting angry about the wrong thing. People are concerned about the wrong thing, in my opinion, that they're worried that it's the same engine because the engine's so old now. They've used the same engine since Morrowind. But that's not that unusual to use an old engine because the thing is, engines are iterative. They improve drastically with each new upgrade that you have for it. And a perfect example of this is the Rockstar engine, the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine, Rage for short, which they have used since 2006. So the same engine that they used to create Red Dead Redemption 2 is the same engine they used to create GTA 5. And you can see the similarities in how they play. They're pretty similar. But it's also the same engine that created GTA 4. Now, you compare, say, for instance, as an example, the driving in GTA 4 to the driving in GTA 5, and you see the enormous difference, the enormous driving
5 is
revamp.
fun. 4 is not fun.
4 is like driving a boat on water.
No, driving a
And
boat
so
on cement is probably the better
yes,
answer.
cement. Yes, cement. Because you say it like that, and I've never heard anyone say cement
Cement,
as cement.
cement.
Yeah, whenever you
I
say it,
don't
I
know where I
always
got
think,
that from. But sorry,
yes.
that's the side note.
But like and the graphical upgrades and the physics upgrades from 4 to 5, and you can see, it's the same engine. They didn't change engines; they just upgraded it, and it's also the same engine they used for Midnight Club. And the same engine that they used to build Red Dead Redemption 2 is the same engine they used for Rockstar Presents Table Tennis in 2006. That game uses the same fucking engine as Red Dead Redemption 2. So all you need to do, and this is how most proprietary engines work, is that you take an engine, you use it for something, and then you upgrade it for next time. You upgrade the physics systems, you upgrade the animations, you upgrade how the graphics work. And Bethesda has done a fair amount of that. There is a lot of differences between Gamebryo and the Creation Engine. Fair enough to call them different engines. But my feeling is that Bethesda hasn't updated as much as they should. So I feel that the issue isn't that they need a new engine, because lots of proprietary engines that are used today are really old. Like, okay, take for instance the Unreal Engine, right? That is an engine that has existed since 1998.
The dawn of
Right?
creation in the internet world.
Yeah. Now, I took the liberty of making a list of games, not an exhaustive list because we'd be here for 2 hours.
Yeah, this is
Of,
Unreal Games. That's one of the most popular engines ever. So
yeah, a list of games, of diverse games that are made on the Unreal Engine, just to show how you can take an engine and upgrade it to do a lot of different stuff. So you have Deus Ex, the first one. You have the Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, Rocket League, Ark Survival Evolved, Fortnite, A Way Out, Kingdom Hearts 3, Life is Strange, XCOM Enemy Unknown, Killing Floor 2, Aliens Colonial Marines, PUBG, Styx Master of Shadows,
these are all
A
different
Hat in
games, completely
Time.
different genres.
A
Like,
Hat in Time was made in Unreal.
yeah,
Every game in the Bioshock series, every game in the Borderlands series, Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, Viscera Cleanup Detail, Ride to Hell Retribution, that fucking turd.
let's forget about that
Sea
one.
of Thieves, Sea of Thieves, Outlast, all of these very diverse games made in one engine, because you take the engine and you upgrade it to do as you wish. The fact that Unreal Engine has been going since 1998 is not an issue. You don't need to make an entirely new engine between Deus Ex and Fortnite. as long as you update it. So when people get angry about the engine, they should be getting angry that Bethesda has not updated as much as they should have, not that they need a new one. Bethesda's animations are still awful.
Didn't I read somewhere that they're doing motion capture of Starfield?
Yes, that's something that gives me hope, because in the same article that got everyone riled up, where Todd Howard said that Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 will be using the same engine, he also mentioned that they're upgrading their animation and physics, which is why a lot of the player animations in Fallout 4 and Fallout 76 look so fucking weird, because they're made by hand and they look janky and weird.
Why Morrowinds looked like someone stuck up their ass the entire game.
Well, that was pretty good for the time,
Yeah, it was. But it's still funny looking back now. It looks like they're a little weird.
Watching them walk with a toilet brush up them. But I worry that Bethesda has not been updating the engine as much as they need to, because they haven't really needed to. Their games sell a lot. They're
feel like
very successful. They're very acclaimed.
I feel like people also give them the benefit of the doubt way too much as well.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, it's a Bethesda game. It's going to be buggy. La, 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 la. And no one really talks about that in, like, reviews or anything like that. And they don't get critical, like, they don't get, like, a response from it. But
also,
it's only, like, if it's a big bug, like game-breaking bug that they are forced to, like, they get bad press about it. They don't get bad press about their engine. Like, it doesn't happen. People are like, it's funny, buggy. It's funny bugs. Ha, ha, ha. But now it's like, holy shit.
There's also a thing where, like, a lot of companies make open world games, but no one makes an open world game like Bethesda. They have a very rigid form. Well, rigid seems more of an insult, but it's not intended to be. Formula for a Bethesda open world RPG. And I feel like they get some slack because they're so different, but this could be the turning point where they really, really upgrade their engine. There's a lot of, like, old code in their engine that they just haven't updated, because, again, they haven't really needed to. Their games have been successful. They've been received well by the audience and critics. They sell like fucking hotcakes. So, what Todd Howard said in that article about not really needing to change because it fits their work processes, he's kind of right, or at least he was until Fallout 76 released and everyone started shitting on the engine all of a sudden. It's like, I really hope that they change certain parts of the engine significantly for the next generation. I don't think they need to get a new one, because that's really expensive, really time consuming, and it fucks over the developers as well, because if you create a whole new engine, then the developers have to get used to it, and that can lead to problems with the game later down the line, and blah blah blah.
And modders won't be, you could take away the modding aspect, which that's what they're known for, more or less. People are so used to the creation engine, they're like, we kind of don't want to move away from it because people are used to it, and that's fair enough.
They haven't needed to. I think now they need to. I think now that 76's released and it's had as much shit thrown at it for its weird coding, its weird graphical errors, when you think about it, there are some weird things that, like, there's a loading bar to climb up a ladder still in Bethesda games, There's a loading bar to go through doors into a building. There's a lot of stuff that kind of went out of fashion in 2010 that Bethesda games still have. God, I really hope they significantly upgrade the engine for Starfield. I really do.
If they don't,
I don't know if they can compete.
If they don't, this is their first their own IP, obviously, but this is the first time they've ever done it, right?
It's not even their own IP, to be fair.
Is it Starfield not their own IP?
Oh, sorry, I thought it was about 76.
No, I'm talking about Starfield. I think this is their first actual IP, like, they own. They created more so. Oh, it was okay. I'm sorry, I forgot about Elder Scrolls. First,
I'm being so nitpicky. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You're correcting me. It's their first game that they made, new IP in like decades.
20 years.
Yeah,
it's
the 2 decades.
IP in 20 years.
So if they come out of the gate and they have the same problems, it's gonna be a cataclysmic of like a failure of proportions never seen. Because I don't
know if I'd go that far, but I feel like they could really, Cyberpunk's coming out in around about the time that Starfield will be coming out, maybe a little earlier. And it just compared to something like Red Dead Redemption 2, which is an enormous open world, enormous, probably bigger than anything Bethesda's ever done. Although maybe not 76, but I can't say that because I've not played it.
Except for that one
there was a
crashing
period. Area. Yeah, there was a period where I was halfway through the story of Red Dead Redemption 2, and I realized I had not explored half of the map because the map in Red Dead Redemption 2 it's like a fog of war, so you only unlock it as you go to it. And I saw a map on the subreddit of like legendary animal locations, and I realized, holy fucking shit, there is half of the map I have not been to. And that game is polished. That game is. There are some bugs, but there's nothing like Bethesda bugs. It's so polished. It's so just, there's no disastrous. I had a few crashes, like I crashed once or twice, but I didn't have any upside down heads. I didn't have an area that I went into that I crashed every time I went into, that kind of stuff. Bethesda needs to catch up. They're getting behind. No one makes an open world game like them, but with 76, maybe that's not such a good thing anymore. If they go into 2022 or whenever Starfield comes out and they still have these same bugs and these same errors and these same shitty animations and weird physics and weird just coding errors and bugs from previous games that have somehow made it into the new one without being fixed, they're going to be behind everyone else.
So the reason I say it's cataclysmic, like, failure is that I feel like, and this is starting to go into the PR part I was talking about from before, I feel like now people are going to be looking at Bethesda with a careful eye and be watching them now. They're going to watch every single move they do because a lot of people feel burned by this game. And they're not doing refunds either, which is not helping their cause at all. And they're just getting even more bad will. There are people going for lawsuits against them because stuff like, their special editions not having the right materials, or what was another lawsuit? A lawsuit about not doing refunds at all. Like, it's going to... if they don't shape up, it's just going to mount. And the more people know about it, like, one of my friends, one of my coworkers, he's a huge Bethesda fan, but he played the game and he feels ripped. He does not like it. He's like, I expected so much more from this, and he's like, I am going to be very careful from now on. Like, he pre-ordered everything. He was so hyped for it. He was telling me every day that Fallout 76 was going to be an amazing game. And it's kind of like the same feeling I have for Destiny 2, where I went into it and I'm like, okay, what the fuck just happened? What am I playing? And I eventually hit that point in Destiny 2, and I'm like, this isn't fun.
So, for clarification, the PR thing that you're talking about is something that happened yesterday. Well, at the time of recording, it happened yesterday, where someone pointed out on I don't know where it first originated, but it started on Reddit, where someone pointed out that in the 200 collector's power armor edition of Fallout 76, it's supposed to come with a canvas bag. It's like a little, it's just a bag. It's a Fallout bag, and instead of canvas, it's nylon. And someone posted a conversation they had with the Bethesda customer service person, who basically said, yeah, it was too expensive to do that, so we're not doing it. We don't plan on doing anything about this. And that got a lot of shit. And then Bethesda responded to it and said, sorry, that person was wrong. It wasn't that it was too expensive. It's that we didn't have the materials, which is like, really? You ran out of canvas?
Isn't canvas pretty...
You ran out...
Isn't canvas like...
Yeah,
I would
that
say it's
worldwide shortage of canvas.
Yeah, it's like... what?
Yeah, that also got bad feedback just because, people weren't buying that shit. They were absolutely not buying that. And then Bethesda edited their response on Reddit to say they're working with their customer support team to provide 500 atoms to purchasers of the Power Armor Edition, which got people furious because out of a $200 edition of the game they bought for a canvas bag, part of it was a canvas bag, which could have gone up to like $30 to $60. depending on what kind of canvas you use, etc. And they replaced it with a nylon bag that costs about $1 or $2, and then didn't tell anyone. And they say, we're going to reimburse you by giving you 500 atoms, which is $5 of a worthless virtual currency that only works in game. And someone did the maths and figured out that 500 atoms will buy you a door and like 2 plants in game.
Yep.
Or just 1 hat.
Mm.
And so that got people even more angry, because they're like, how are you gonna, this is like $30 to $60 out of a $200 thing, and you're gonna offer a worthless in-game currency that like buys me a fake door? So currently, that comment has 21,100 minus karma on Reddit, making it the 3rd most downvoted comment in Reddit history.
Which is impressive, because there's been a lot of dumb shit that's been said on Reddit.
Yeah, it won't quite catch up to Battlefront's 2 pride.
That's 680,000, right?
Yeah, that's good luck with that one.
That was held on every news site like in existence.
Yeah.
And they got everything pointed at them.
This thread is also starting to go off the front page of the 76 subreddit, so people will less nice to comment. So we'll probably hover around 21,000, 22,000.
But still go down as the 3rd worst, which, again, it's Reddit. Yeah. Reddit's been around for a while, so having the 3rd worst in its history is kind of saying something about what people think.
I'm amazed that there aren't more. I was surprised to see that there aren't many comments with that many downvotes.
People usually just ignore shit unless they absolutely despise that person.
Yeah, I guess.
And again, it's coming back at Bethesda because, like, they had so much goodwill. Like, before the 76 was announced, they were beloved by everybody. Yeah. Everyone loved Bethesda. Once it was announced, people were like, okay, maybe we'll see how it goes. I might skip it, but I can't wait for Starfield. Then as it gets closer and closer, people were like, oh, what is this game?
Bad news,
this is bad news. Then the beta came down, like as I said before, it just mounted and mounted. And it came out. They could have turned it around. They didn't. They kept pushing it in that direction. Their PR department is
the day before this canvas bag scandal happened, which as of speaking has about 130,000 upvotes on r/gaming to show how widespread this has gotten. This has gone everywhere. This is not a minor scandal. This is a big fucking deal now.
Which if it's 133,000 upvotes, literally everyone on Reddit's seen it. That's roughly the comparison.
There's a day beforehand, they had a post on r/76 saying that they're going to improve communication moving forward, and that got some of the goodwill back. They talked about some of the shit they're going to fix. They talked about the bulldozer they're adding, the improvements to camp and the stash and the blah blah blah. And people were like, okay, maybe this is improving. And then one day later, they had this shit. It's like everything is going wrong for them. The game is not being received well. It's not selling well. Their attempts to deal with the bad press are just backfiring completely. Nothing's going right. In fact, I think the only good thing 76 has going for it is that it's an online game, a game as a service. If this was a single player game, it would be totally fucked because you can't really fix a totally broken single player game. But with an online game, you can update it. You can see what people like, what people don't like, and you can add what they want and fix what they don't like. And in a year or so, you can have a No Man's Sky where you've made the game at least close to what people wanted. And maybe it's not a huge success, but it still has a fairly sizable active player base.
I was gonna say that next. So me and Michael over here, we're big Final Fantasy 14 players. Like, we love the game. I love the game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It has been documented how big of a failure the game was. It was awful. It was the worst thing in existence for a while. But
it was bad.
Then the right guy at the right time came up, and he pushed it into the right direction. And in 2 years, it became a powerful MMO, and it's still going today. Like, it's right now, especially with World of Warcraft going through a little bit of a issue with Battle for Azeroth. it's still going strong. Then there's an expansion coming out. People are happy with the game. It is fantastic. Everything is good about it now.
There's some speculation that it's now overtaken World of Warcraft as the most subscribed to.
I would love to see those numbers.
Speculation.
I would love to see those numbers because
I don't think
that would be the greatest comeback
numbers anymore.
I don't think they do, but that would be the greatest comeback story in gaming history by far because the game was dead.
Can have that.
But what I was going to ask is, do you? It probably won't have it on that scale, but as you said, in a year's time or 2 years' time, do you think it can turn around?
Yes. I mean, I think it can, but it's not going to be to the same extent that all the other games that you've seen have turned around. It may get better. It may get slightly better. It may pull a Destiny 1, but the biggest thing is their bugs, man. Like they gotta fix this shit. There's no way this is going to get better.
Yeah, so
the game itself, the core game plays fine, right? It's just buggy as fuck.
Yeah, so they have to balance content, the PR nightmare,
bug fixes.
And the bug fixes. Like Destiny 2, I mean Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 especially, it was just content. Like the bugs, there were not many bugs. It was a pretty polished game. It's just there was nothing to do. They fixed that. Now they have to balance all the bug fixing, which is a lot of them, extensive lists. Get their PR back in line and also good content because all they have is nukes. That's it.
I think in 2 years' time, Fallout 76 will be it won't have a huge audience, but it will have a happy, committed audience of a sizable number because they will have patched the game, they will have added stuff to it. I think there's a decent chance they might add NPCs to it at some point in the future. I really do think because I think one of the biggest complaints the game has had from a gameplay perspective is that it just feels so empty and pointless if you're playing by yourself or even with friends sometimes. It's so empty, it's so soulless, there's no heart to it, there's no characters, and every character is a holotape, and you know how that holotape ends. You get a quest to go meet an NPC, and there's no NPC there because there's no NPCs in the game. What you're going to find is a holotape.
Yep, or a dead body. Usually find a dead body.
Or a dead body, yeah. So I think there's a decent chance they may try and add NPCs to the game to liven it up a bit. And in 2 years, I think there'll be a turnaround. Because I also think that Bethesda can't afford to have.
Yeah, I was going to say something like that.
They cannot. This is it's not. It's not. It's kind of a mainline Fallout release, but it's still. Even if it's not, it's still a big Bethesda release.
It's their names on the box. So
yeah, they had more people working on this game than they ever had for any previous games. I believe. I think they had 3 studios working on it. They cannot afford to have, considering that there's 4 years at least before their next game. They can't really. Well, maybe not 4, maybe 3. Anyway. They cannot afford to have this linger before the next game.
Because it's going to get worse and worse if they don't do anything.
Yeah, they need to fix it. Maybe they can have turn it into a redemption story, right? The game was kind of like what Assassin's Creed did after Unity. They fucked up. It was glitchy. People didn't like it. People didn't like the gameplay. Blah, 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 blah. But they fixed it. And they had this big redemption story where they took what the community wanted and they made it better. And in 2 years' time, it's a great game. Blah, blah, blah.
Now it's back in as one of the better franchises in gaming instead of the
but
once a year thing.
If they just leave it, then it sits as a complete failure. And the first big Bethesda failure also as well, apart from the paid mods thing, which was more of a
it's like, anyway. And then it's in the line of they have some of the most critically acclaimed games of all time, and one of the least well-received least well-received games of all time because no one really likes this, and that's going to go with them forever if they don't turn this around.
People think that this game is going to be dead in a year, and this game will absolutely not be dead in a year because they're not going to abandon it. Like they're comparing it to Steam early access games.
You can just say my name, by the way. Like I was the one saying that this game's dead in a year.
Was it you?
Yeah, I said it was going to be dead in a year. I genuinely
content wise. I was talking about Reddit.
I'm talking about like content wise because you compare it to like Destiny 1 or 2. There's no content.
Oh, they'll add content. They'll add a shit ton. They'll have to. I don't. It won't be dead in the year because the people on Reddit. I assure you, I was not passive aggressively referring to Clint.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, made by one guy on Steam that gets abandoned once it gets bad reviews and all that. This is one of the biggest companies in gaming. They're going to make sure that this shit fucking works. They're going to make this game be a success. And again, it won't be a big success, but they'll have a happy audience who continually play it, kind of like, oh god, I'm trying to think of an example of a game that's done that. I guess Destiny would be a good one.
Yeah, Destiny.
Yeah.
Like after a few years, it had a very solid, respectable like player count, and Destiny 2 is starting to trend in that direction again.
Yeah, and hopefully Destiny 3 does not follow that pattern. But
I'm not gonna hold my breath.
And the same will happen to 76. They cannot afford to let this fail. They're not just going to say, "Oh, well, that fucked up. Let's focus on Starfield." They're going to do their best to add content, to fix the bugs, to listen to what people don't like about the game.
But they also need to talk. They need to talk, and they're not talking.
Yeah,
they are talking. They are talking, but they're making their grave even bigger, and it's going to get harder and harder.
There's also been a lot of comments about how like they couldn't win. If a game company ever has a huge PR fuck up, it's almost better for them not to say anything, because no matter what they say, it will just make it worse. And this is almost proving it true, because they've tried to fan the flame. Not fan the flame. That's the opposite. They've tried to like
they are fan the flames a little
bit. they've tried to fix it several times, and every time they've tried to fix it, they've just made it worse. So maybe it's like, maybe just don't say anything. Don't go Hello Games. Don't go No Man's Sky and stay silent for a year. But maybe just fix it and then say when you've got a fix, and just kind of leave it at that.
I feel like it's going to be their PR strategy coming forward, especially after this debacle. It's like,
yeah,
they're digging their own. I wouldn't say grave, because it's not going to kill Bethesda. They're too powerful. But in a lot of people's minds, that could be a grave. So
don't try and appease people, because they're not, and especially because you're appeasing them with dumb shit. 500 atoms for $200. Thanks, great. Don't try and appease them, because they're not going to be appeased. The only way you can appease them is by fixing stuff. So get them bug fixes, release them, and then tell the community that there's bug fixes, and then tell them about the content you're adding, and then blah blah blah, and make an effort to show that you're fixing shit. Don't just do this stuff about how we hope this doesn't prevent anyone from enjoying what we feel is one of our best collector's editions. Here's 500 atoms. Fuck off. Just do the work. Fix the game, I don't know. There's a lot of shit gone wrong with
we
this.
could go on for hours and hours and hours on this too.
I cannot believe that this has happened to Bethesda of all companies. Bethesda is the one in this shit.
You would think it would be like an EA or a Ubisoft or a 2K.
This feels very comparable to like Unity for me personally, when Assassin's Creed Unity released and that was a complete disaster. It feels very comparable to that. Just how this is Bethesda's first major fall, and now it's kind of like almost like the facade has fallen a little bit, and now people are far more judgmental of Bethesda than they would have been previously, and they may be more judgmental of them in the future.
Yeah, that's what I mean from before.
Interesting. Yeah,
people are gonna be very.
Basically, I just repeated what you said.
Yeah, they're gonna be. Even if they fix this, people are gonna be very careful from now on. Like,
yeah,
they've ruined all that goodwill. Now they have to
that
rebuild
facade
it.
is gone,
and they have to. It's gonna take all that stuff they've had over the past 2 decades. It's gone for a lot of people.
You know how we had how all of us had that moment where when we were younger, where we realized that Valve and Steam weren't like the saviors of gaming.
Yeah,
and they were kind of just like a big company that likes money. It kind of feels like that again. That facade of realizing that they're not this super cool, epic gamer company has just gone. They're just another company that makes some good games and apparently is also capable of making shit games. So I'm very curious to see how it's progressed in a year, because I think it will be a lot better. Well,
Hopefully, because
better.
otherwise that's $40 for me out the drain. Oh well.
That's why I'm waiting, because I will eventually buy, because I'm a sucker, but I'm waiting till a good sale.
I mean, I'd honestly say it's worth at least it's at the most $40. I wouldn't pay more than 40. $30 is really good.
I will be there at 30. Give me 30, and I'll probably get it. But
It
I'm
was
also
30 a couple
afraid
weeks ago.
that there's not enough content as well, because, again, we play in the group. I'm afraid by the time I get it, you'll all be about done with it, so it's like, oh, okay.
Exactly. Like Sea
I
of
mean, you're not
Thieves.
wrong, yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's like Sea of Thieves or whatever.
Or Monster Hunter World.
Or Monster
you know.
Hunter World. Rip.
We need to get back into that. I want to play some of the
Yeah,
new
there's a lot of
monsters.
content now. Like, there's a lot. They added some monsters and stuff like that. I want to get back into it. It's a fun game.
Yeah, we should
I'm
do
looking
that.
forward to Lunastra.
But I think we've beaten the horse enough that the horse is like,
Yeah.
it's everywhere now. Like, holy
Yeah.
shit. We're going to need a
I
new
think
horse.
we've gone over everything.
Yeah.
And me personally, I've just rambled for 2 fucking hours.
No,
so-
you're good. You're good. Like, again, you're the one that probably knows the most. You research a lot. So it's cool to have all that perspective. Again, I really do hope
Don't rely on me as a source though, because
you're
holy
the
shit,
source. You
I'm
can
probably
quote him,
wrong
by the
about
way.
a lot of
He's an expert.
Yeah,
He's a
don't
Bethesda
do that.
lore expert, if you will.
Don't do that. Well, I don't want to toot my own horn or anything.
But
I've seen the No Clip documentary.
oh,
about
so you
Bethesda.
are a lore expert. You are a
I know
valid.
everything about them.
You know everything. You
Oh,
know, but
speaking of No Clip, if you want to know more about Final Fantasy 14, there's 2 things you should watch. One, you should watch the No Clip documentaries on Final Fantasy 14 because they're fucking great. And 2, you should watch the Yogscast playthrough of the original Final Fantasy 14 from like 8 years ago. It's where they they play through the original version, and it's fucking funny.
And if you want even more ideas of how Final Fantasy 14 turned around, there is a fantastic series called The Rise and Fall of Final Fantasy 14. That's also on YouTube. It'll be below. Fantastic series. I like watching the videos because there's a lot of it goes in depth. No Clip did the documentary side, as in like they talk to the developers. These guys talk as in like from the player's perspective what was going on.
Yeah.
And it's also a fantastic watch. So watch that series as well. Final Fantasy 14 is great, by the way. Shadowbringers is coming out. It's gonna be fantastic. Can't wait. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. For
I'm
that
excited.
one
I'm
too,
hyped.
myself.
I need to get back into it. I need to catch back up. There's too many games to play, man. Too many games, not enough time.
It's a
Adult
horrific
sucks.
problem that we face.
Adulting sucks. Being
Play Red Dead, you dickhead, and stream it. So I can upload it and we can get like 1 million views.
I don't think that's how it works, but okay, I will.
Well, you never know.
I just need to say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and I will get 1 million views, mostly from Reddit because people would bash me.
Well, yeah, I mean, just what you mean, just like rice gum it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no.
Anyways, I think we're done here.
Person.
At least I'm done here. It's been going on
man.
like 2 hours. That's a lengthy.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Bethesda. We knew that well.
Oof.
But anyways,
Big yikes. Reddit vernacular. Big yikes. Oof. Big oof.
oof,
Lots of yikes.
lots of yikes.
Roblox noises, etc.
Thank you guys for
All
watching
noises.
this episode of the Critical State Podcast, and we'll see you guys whenever the fuck we make the next one.
Never.
Never. Bye, guys.
Red Dead 2 Game of the Year.
That's our game of the year. Red Dead 2. If we don't make another video, Red Dead 2. All right, bye, guys.